If you told me you only had 3 days out of the week to jump higher, this is what I would do for you. I'm going to give you a vertical jump routine that'll help you jump higher with only 3 days of training throughout the week. Keep in mind that the priority of these 3 training days are to help you jump higher. You're not going to notice as much upper body gains or strength, but you'll still be able to get lean all around with this routine. In this certain situation, the priority is our lower body and becoming an output monster with only 3 days of training. This is assuming that you're a really busy person who doesn't have time to train more days. So this could be if you're a full-time worker working 40+ hours a week, a full-time student who has other responsibilities as well, a parent, just someone that's busy and can't afford to train 5 to 6 days a week. This is also assuming that you're not doing any activities or training on the other days. So these 3 days will be your only days of training. Let me talk about the warm-up that I'd have you do for all 3 days. I would start off the workout with some ISOs, obviously, for tendon health. 3 by 45 seconds on a single leg extension and 3 by 45 seconds on a double leg calf raise ISO. You can superset them to make it go faster, but make sure you get these in. Then go through your warm-up consisting of dynamic movements and stretches and mobility to get the necessary muscles warm and activated before the actual workout. I'm not going to go super specific with the warm-up just because I don't want this video to be too long, but you can see what I'm doing on the screen right now, where I'm targeting the necessary muscles and getting them warm and activated before the actual workout. Primarily the quads, the hips and the hamstrings, the glutes and the calves, basically the entire leg. Next, I would also include some cardio in there. A 10 to 15 minute mild jog or 10 to 15 minutes of cycling would go a long way with your body composition. Assuming you can only train 3 days of the week, doing some cardio in the beginning of your workout is going to act as a pretty good warm-up while also allowing you to burn some extra calories. As jumping athletes, we want to be as lean as possible while also staying as strong as possible, and this is going to cover one side of the equation. So let's get into day 1 after you've done all the warm-ups. This is going to be a full body workout with emphasis on the lower body. I would start off with a sprint specific warm-ups consisting of A skips, B skips, and then sprinting 4 by 30 meters. Make sure you have enough space to sprint so that you're able to run at top speed. Rest for like 2 minutes in between each set. Sprinting is the fastest movement we can do on the force velocity curve. So it's going to be a great stimulus for training the stretch shortening cycle and loading the lower leg a lot. I always like doing the fastest and most explosive movements first, so this is first, which gets into my next movement, loaded jumps, 3 sets by 5 reps. With light to moderate weighted dumbbells in each hand, you're performing a counter movement jump up, landing, and absorbing the impact and rebounding up as fast as possible. Working on rate of force development when you're jumping with additional weight, really focus on rebounding up quickly. So during the landing, you want to absorb the impact as fast as possible so that you're able to jump up as fast as you can. So next I got chest flies, 3 sets by 15 reps. The main goal for the upper body will be hypertrophy. Make sure to squeeze at the end range and then release. Make sure your range of motion is also pretty solid. Push yourself on the upper body. You only got 1 push movement in this workout, so make it count. Your last few reps should look like this. Next I got heavy back squats. 4 sets by 6 reps. The goal is for those last 2 sets to be your top sets. Work around 1 rep in reserve. Push yourself on the weight, obviously. Squats are a staple in every single jump training program. Going full depth or as low as you can go without your back rounding and without any pain. Lat pull down, 3 sets by 12 reps. Work to failure, especially in the last set. If you feel a burn, you'll know it's working. Make sure to feel the stretch in the lats. Make those arms straight at the end range and then pull down and squeeze the contraction. Working near or at failure to promote those hypertrophy adaptations. Next are RDLs, 3 sets by 6 reps. Make sure you're training the posterior chain as well, and this is a great way to train the hamstrings and the glutes. During my leg days, I always like to include some type of hip hinge variation, and this is one of my favorite hip hinge variations. Make sure you're keeping your back straight and your knees in a slightly bent position throughout the whole lift. Bring the weight up with your glutes and hamstrings primarily, not your back. To finish the workout, I got 3 sets by 8 reps of Smith machine calf raises. Going heavy on these and working almost to failure. Use a plate or an elevated platform so that you're able to get into a deeper stretch in the calves and bring your heels lower. This is going to help with training the gastrocnemius, which is one of your calf muscles. Work around 1 rep or 2 reps in reserve. And boom, there's the first day. This workout should last about 1.5 hours depending on how long your rest times are. Day 2, do this at least 48 hours after day 1. You don't want to do it directly after. Same warm up as day 1, so I'm not going to get too much into it. The dynamic stretches, mobility, stretching. So getting into the actual warm up, I got power cleans, 4 sets by 3 reps. Build up to your top set as always. To be able to jump high, you need to be powerful, which means you must be able to produce a lot of force in a short amount of time. With Olympic lifts, that's exactly what you're doing. What's bringing the bar up is extension in the hips, knees, and ankles collectively. Another great thing about power clean specifically are the eccentric loads it puts on your legs during the catch. When the bar hits your shoulders, you're absorbing a huge impact by catching it in a lower position, which gets you really strong eccentrically. And when you're strong eccentrically, that allows you to pop off the ground faster. It's going to take some time to master and get the technique down, but the time spent learning is totally worth it. Next, I got dumbbell bench press, 3 sets by 12 reps with minimal rest times. Like I said, the goal with upper body is hypertrophy. Low rest times and high volume allows for a higher metabolic stress to occur, which will help with muscle building. Push near at failure for these as well. Another squat variation, half squats, 4 sets by 5 reps. Squatting just above parallel, going even heavier than the squats on day 1 since you're not going as low. Half squats are more specific to the act of jumping since you're squatting in a more similar joint angle as jumping. So once you get stronger in that position, you'll almost always jump higher. Be careful because the more specific means the higher risk of injury. These put a lot of load on your knees and back, so build up to these heavy weights. Seated row, 3 sets by 12 reps. Gotta add another pull in there to work the upper back. Train till failure or 12 reps, whichever comes first. Feel the burn. And again, squeeze the lats at the end range and really stretch the lats once you get to the starting position again. Seated or lying hamstring curls, 3 sets by 8 reps. Using the machine and pushing a decent amount of weight, get those hammies strong. That's all. Nothing really to explain here. To end the workout, I got seated calf raises, 3 sets by 6 reps. Go heavy on these. These are going to train a different part of the calf, which is the soleus, while the standing calf raises are working on the gastrocnemius. Both important in lower leg strength for sure. And that's the end of day 2. 2025 is here. It's a fresh start. So what are you waiting for? If you've been on the fence for a while and you're looking for serious vertical jump training and a coach, now's the time to go crazy this year and become the athlete you know you're capable of becoming. And to do that, join Get Up. Fill out the form in the description and I'll reach out to you if you're a good fit. On to day 3, my favorite day of the week, jump day. This is the day where you're focusing on max jumping. Obviously build up to it. Do the same warm-ups as day 1 and 2, but add some extensive plyos in there like skipping and pogos. Get really warm and build up to the max jumps. Start off with 60% jumps, then 70, then 80, all the way to 100% maximal jumping so that you're reducing the risk of injury and increasing performance. Take your time with the warm-ups. Take about 25 minutes of your time to warm up properly. Then it's just a fun time from here. Max jump where you're trying to touch something really high, trying to touch the rim, or trying to dunk, or trying to get a new dunk. Or if you're super serious, get a vert trainer and set it to a height that you can barely touch. Try grabbing the rim with 2 hands. Try something you've never done before. This is going to force your body to drive with intent. I like to rest about 1 to 2 minutes in between each jump so that I'll be recovered for my next max jump. But if you want to rest a little bit longer or a little shorter, it's up to you. Just make sure you're challenging yourself on these reps. Keep track of how many max jumps you do and build up from there. Make sure not to overload yourself or you'll be dealing with some knee pain. And don't waste these jump days. This is the most important day of the week. So that's how you can jump higher with only 3 days of training throughout the week. It could be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, or a different variation depending on your schedule. But every other day is recommended if you're short on time. Don't do these 3 training days back to back to back because that's only going to lead to overload and injuries. Definitely more effective to train 5 to 6 days a week. I understand that not everybody has the luxury to train that much, and that's totally reasonable. This video is to give an option to those who are limited on time but are just as passionate about jumping higher as the rest of us. It is 100% possible to see gains with only 3 days of training. I also want to show you that there should be no excuses that you don't have time to train. If each workout lasts about 1 to 1.5 hours, then that's only 3 to 5 hours out of your week. You're telling me you can't commit to 3 to 5 hours out of your week to better yourself as an athlete? Out of those 168 hours you have in a week, you can't fit 3 to 5 hours in there? Bullshit. If this is something you really want to do, then you're gonna make time for it. A few of my athletes that are working 40+ hours a week are still able and willing to train 5 to 6 days a week because they care about it. If you can't make time for 3 days out of the week, then you simply just don't care about it enough. And that's fine. Jump training is not built for everybody, but you gotta be honest with yourself or else I will. I'm grateful that I have the time to fully commit as much time as I can to training and jumping higher. Even if I didn't have time to train, I would simply just make time for it. Decide what's your priority. But yeah, try out this 3-day training routine if you're short on time, and I'll catch you later.